tears.
Carlos, the man of love, is about to experience some love. Yeah, I did.
This is like a school field trip. This is exactly what I was talking about every quarter we go on. Poor Cole and Willie aren't here.
They were bad students.
Do you guys know what we're about to witness?
The Reaper.
The Reaper?
The Reaper.
Yeah. So we're getting a bull tested. Does anybody here not know what all that entails? Raise your hand. Okay. You're going to learn today.
Carlos, the man of love, as you've probably seen him in some videos where we were bucking him, but he's about to get on some heifers. So we got a few that we kept this year, and before we put him on him, we're going to test him. This will be the first time we've used him as a herd bull, so field trip day for the interns.
So the point of fertility testing is essentially to make sure that he can get his job done. There's no point in putting him out on a herd of heifers that he is shooting blanks. You're going to waste a season, you're going to be mad, all this and that. So a key limiting factor would be the bull's success. Fertile bull should be able to service about 20 to 30 cows in a synchronized short breeding season. And
He'll be on 7.
He better be able to get the job done. First evaluation is the bull sound. If a bull can't walk or is sore for whatever reason, he will not breed a cow. He is a smaller bull. He's not super fat. He's also not underweight. So those are things, breeding a herd of cattle is actually really strenuous for these guys. So bulls will lose a lot of condition through breeding season. You also look at their eyes, make sure that you can see that they're not blind. Kind of seems trivial, but can't see what he's doing. He's not going to find his girlfriends. That's not always the case. Blind mouse finds cheese every now and then. Steph is going to help me with this. It's always nice to have assistance, but we'll put him in the chute. It's just kind of an evaluation from belly down. I'll clip the hairs off of his prepuce, evaluate his feet, make sure he doesn't have like a screw claw or a foot that looks like there's swelling, abscess, any old scarring like that. And then I will palpate his testicles. Essentially what I'm looking for there is temperature. The reason they have pendulous testicles is that for sperm production it has to be at a lower body temperature than inside. That's why if you hear cryptorchids or anything like that, there's issues with that because it's cooking the sperm. It has to be kept cooler. There's also risk to that they're hanging out in the middle of nowhere. One, injured. If it does get cold, they can get frostbite and get some scarring or different things in there. So essentially make sure the skin can move everywhere, there's no adhesions, make sure testicles are the same size. If they're not, that can indicate either an infection. Make sure they're not painful. Palpate up to the spermatic cord, make sure they're even, free to move, and then also the epididymis, all the different structures there. I also will measure the scrotum. So scrotal size is a factor in fertility. There is a correlation between the size of the bull's testicles and how fertile his females will be and how fast they'll come into puberty and cycle. So the bigger the nuts on a bull, the earlier his heifers will start cycling, and also their fertility. So that's kind of why we worry about that. The other thing too is the mass of testicle is how much sperm he's going to produce. If he's got little dinky ones, he's just not going to make as much, versus if he's got big old hunkers in there, then he can make more sperm. So that's kind of the initial exam. Palpate kind of down his prepuce, make sure there's no scarring or anything there. To collect him, Steph will actually palpate him first. There are different sex organs that are inside the bull, that prostate, seminal vesicles. She'll palpate those, make sure there's no swelling, pain, unevenness, make sure there's no issues with infection. That also will kind of start stimulation-wise to collect our sample. We will use an electroejaculate probe. It does place a little bit of electrical current over those nerves. You can crank it up and turn it up and cause them to fall down, but it's not painful if you're nice to him, but you just cause essentially some stimulation there. He will kind of rock back and forth. Some of them vocalize. He'll get real kind of tense and rigid and then relax until he should extend his penis. We'll collect an ejaculate sample. At that point, I will look at it under the microscope. Things I'm looking for there are motility. So essentially, it's the 70-30 rule. 70% or better is like a great sample. If they start getting lower than that, you start to get a question of why they're not moving. So you want them to be progressively motile. So that means that they are swimming in one direction and they're on the hunt. If they're sitting there spinning around circles, they're never going to go anywhere. So they're going to get lost, not get the job done. And then after that, we actually take a stain that kills them, stains them, and I look at what we call morphology. So during spermatogenesis, there's a droplet that moves down the tail. So you have the sperm head and then the tail that swims, and you want to make sure you don't have bent tails, they're not broken off, there's no like cytoplasmic droplets, things like that. Because if there are, that would mean that yes, they may get to the egg and swim, but there's something wrong with them that they may not they may not be fertile for that reason. So that's also another thing of essentially there's about a 70-30 rule. If there's more than 30% primary morphologic differences or issues, you failed bull. More than likely he'll be just fine. The other thing that we will be testing for him today will be trick. So trick is a venereal disease or an STD in cattle. The reason we test the bulls is that they carry it in the crypt cells in their prepuce. When they breed a cow, they'll transfer it to the cow. It'll cause the cows to abort. So if you have bad fertility issues in your cows, the cow will eventually clear the infection. It just takes some time, but your bulls don't. So they're the kind of main culprit. And again, there's no point. A quick, simple test, screw yourself over pretty quickly if you turn a dirty bull out on your cows. So that's why we kind of test them.
Kevin, you saw it before.
Yep.
And you got in trouble.
Yeah. I didn't like the nickname. Shout out to Evan. That was an eventful day.
They didn't like the nickname you gave the prod? Mm-mm. Or they didn't like that you were giggling so much?
Well, dude, some of those bulls were really, it was hard not to.
You just had to be there.
Yeah,
you had to be there. Yeah.
Because I didn't see it coming, you know.
Pun intended.
Dude, just Angus bulls. But they'd get all like this. They just, it was funny. But you just had to be there. And it didn't get old, really. Like, it just kept getting funnier as the day went on for some reason. And then the veterinarians really got tired of that, I guess. You'll get that.
We're professionals here. Rodeo time at Guacamole Camp. We're going to get these heifers. Carlos, the man of love, lived up to his name, and he is in fact fertile. So all we got now is waiting on the trick test coming in a couple of days. But now we got to get the heifers. So I've got heifers that we kept, and I want to separate those and put them on Carlos. The R.A. Brown bull, his EPDs show that he's got a pretty low birth weight calf. You know, it's kind of a prediction. The EPDs are expected progeny difference. Regardless, your boy has lost some heifers the last time, so I want to take every precaution I can. So I'm going to use a Corini bull to kind of get that first calf out of the way, if you know what I mean. Then the following year, we'll put him on a bigger bull like God rest his soul, like John or R.A. Brown bull. It's a long story, but the point is we're gonna go gather the big pen, get these heifers in so we can put a Corini bull on. You can just hang right there, Kev. So most of the time when you're gathering, like out there, we wouldn't yell. You wouldn't want to yell. When you get up to the pens like this, you're going through a gate, you might give it a hi, hi, hi. What I would do is listen to the boss. The boss does it, then you do it. If the boss being quiet, then keep being quiet. Because what can happen is like if we're out in the pasture right now and somebody just goes to yelling, well, that front Hereford is gonna run off and she's gonna leave her baby back here. Well, then she's gonna know that her baby's not there, and then what's she gonna do? She's gonna turn around and come back. So now all of a sudden we're having to fight cows coming at us. It just depends on the situation. Now they're already coming back on top of you, then yeah, make some noise and get them to turn around. But if they're going the way you want them to go at a gentle pace, let them go. You know, they don't have to be running. Don't run them over the top of me, but put them on me in the corner. I'm gonna let the cows go by and the baby calves, and I'm gonna keep our 7 heifers. Perfect. Now a lot of heifers. There you go.
Back off, back off, back off.
Joe's on feed buggy duty because she drew the short straw. Hashtag command. Hashtag feed buggy. Dale, yeah. Rodeo time here at Radiator Ranch. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully here in about 9 months, we'll be not having to make a video on how to pull a calf out of a first calving heifer, because we've done everything else correctly. We got the little bull, etc. On to the next one, old son.